Italy holds its breath at dusk. A single bay light spills on canvas and chrome, a secret waiting to be justified. This is the moment the tractor maker stopped being content with utility and began to imagine refinement. Tonight, the shop is quiet, but the next chapter is already being sketched in steel. Entire History of Lamborghini, Episode 4. Before Lamborghini built a single car, the world expected nothing from Ferruccio beyond tractors. He was wealthy, respected, but unproven in the arena he had chosen now. And yet, when the covers came off at the Milan Motor Show in 1963, the room changed. Whispers, not of doubt, but of possibility. The prototype, the 350GT wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful. A declaration in aluminum and ambition, proof that this dream was real. Engineers leaned over the chassis like surgeons, blueprints unfurled across wooden tables. Not just another Italian sports car, but something built for grace, for distance, for grand touring. Hands hammered curves into life. Coaches marked panels with chalk, not for correction, but for refinement. Every line debated, every crease carved like sculpture. And deep inside, a V12 began to take form. Not a race engine, but a masterpiece of civility and strength. Designed to run smooth, run fast, and run forever. Ferruccio watched, not as a boss, but as a believer. He demanded excellence, not to outdo rivals, but to honor the people who built the car with him. And when the first 350GT rolled into the sunlight, it wasn't a victory shout, it was a quiet arrival. From a workshop in the countryside to a factory in Sant'Agata, Lamborghini wasn't chasing the world anymore, it was ready to lead it. The miracle of the 350GT wasn't beauty, it was engineering. Ferruccio knew that style might earn applause, but reliability would earn loyalty. So every bolt, every bearing, every polished surface was treated like a promise. Not just fast, not just powerful, but smooth, effortless, unshakable. The V12 was tuned not to roar, but to sing. 6 Webers breathing in harmony, a valve train so perfectly balanced you could rest a coin on the intake without it falling. Gearboxes were blueprinted by hand. Suspensions were torqued, checked, and checked again. Not for racing glory, but for the long road. The road that tells the truth about a car. On the factory line, nothing was rushed. Differentials spun freely before meeting their housings. Cooling systems whirled to life on test benches long before any wheels touched pavement. Even the underbody, the part no one sees, was crafted like the face of a watch. This was the moment Lamborghini became Lamborghini. A car that didn't compromise, not for weight, not for fashion, not for ego. As the first engine settled into a perfect idle, you could feel it, the confidence in the room. A quiet understanding that this machine was ready for the world. And when the hood closed with a single sharp note, it sounded like a signature. Then came ignition, full throttle, and suddenly the calculations, the testing, the sleepless nights became motion. The 350GT wasn't just fast, it was composed, a grand tourer that made speed feel inevitable rather than forced. And in every reflection, chrome, glass, and polished steel, you could see the truth. This wasn't a machine born from rivalry, it was born from belief. If the engineering made the 350GT brilliant, the craftsmanship made it unforgettable. No plastic, no shortcuts, only hand-stitched leather pulled tight across curves, wood polished until it felt warm to the touch, and dials that weren't just gauges, they were jewelry. The cabin didn't look like a race car. It looked like an Italian lounge, built for conversation, for elegance, for life lived at a different tempo. In the 350GT, luxury wasn't decoration, it was identity. The steering wheel, the Veglia gauges, the pedals, they spoke the same language as the engine. Effortless power, always in control. And when the world outside began to move, the city lights of Rome, the rolling hills of Tuscany, the coastlines of a country rediscovering itself, the 350GT felt perfectly at home. A grand tourer isn't meant to impress at a standstill. It's meant to change the way you experience distance, not shortening the journey, but elevating it. It wasn't just for drivers, it was for the people who shared the road rode with them, the moments made along the way, the memories tied to a car that felt alive. And at night, when the engine cooled and the lights dimmed, the 350 GT still held presence, a quiet, confident glow that didn't need applause. Because luxury isn't loud. Luxury is knowing exactly who you are, even when the road grows dark, and driving forward anyway. The world noticed, almost immediately. Car magazines didn't just praise the 350 GT, they revered it. They called it the future of grand touring, the Italian answer to perfection. And soon, the most influential people of the era wanted one. Actors, musicians, business titans. Not because they needed to be seen, but because the 350 GT felt like something only they could understand. It became more than a car. It became a passport to a different kind of life. A life measured not in kilometers, but in emotions along the way. The sound of the V12 echoing through a valley, the sunset over the coast, a hand resting on yours at 120 kilometers an hour. And as demand grew, so did Lamborghini. The factory expanded, the workforce multiplied, and Ferruccio's bet that passion could beat tradition paid off in full. Then came the next evolution, the 400 GT, sharper, faster, more confident. The moment when Lamborghini stopped proving itself and started defining itself. Two grand tourers, side by side, sliding through the Italian countryside. Not in competition, but in harmony. A brand becoming a legacy. And in the glow of that golden hour, with the road stretching endlessly ahead, Lamborghini wasn't just successful, Lamborghini had arrived. But even as the 350 GT and 400 GT rewrote the rules, something else was forming in the shadows. In a corner of Sant'Agata, under a tarp no one spoke about, engineers met after hours, chasing an idea that wasn't approved and couldn't be stopped. They wanted a machine beyond grand touring, beyond comfort, beyond civility. A Lamborghini not for the road, but for the edge of what was humanly possible. It wasn't designed to please. It wasn't built to compromise. It was built to terrify. They shed weight, added power, stripped everything that didn't make it faster. A raging bull, distilled to its most violent form. This project had no marketing plan, no launch date, no approval, just obsession. And soon, the world would learn its name, the Miura Jota.